Okay, welcome once again to the Nailsin ratings. Well, boy, I wasn't totally sure I would do this, but I had to be fair and I had to give the show a shot. I reviewed the first episode of Black Lightning and I did not like it. I thought it was a lot of cop bashing and that sort of thing, and just flat out pandering and goofy plots that didn't quite work, and a hero who was more concerned about cops than cold blooded murderers, even when they were threatening his daughter. So, talk about take you right out of the story. It was just bad overall, and I still don't like his costume. I think that's pretty rotten. But rumor has it they're going to change that over time, so let's hope so. But boy, talk about night and day. The second episode is fantastic. It's just real. I'm going to just forget the first episode happened. And the second episode is the premiere episode of Black Lightning. This was a good show. Still not enough superheroics. You got probably even less in this one than you did in the first one, which is probably the big negative for it. But still, overall, the story about, and he's being pushed out of retirement by the situation he's in with this criminal gang, the 100 gang that's taken over that just basically runs the city. Because even though there's a scene there with dirty cops, yeah, they're dirty cops. It's spelled out very simply. They stand there and do nothing when the real crime lord shows up at the end. And that works within the plot of the story, and it's not just a pandering moment and this sort of thing. Well, the rest of it, there's interesting aspects that are explored here. The three romantic relationships. You have, obviously, Black Lightning and his ex-wife, who he wants to be back with. He's still in love with her and everything. And then there's the two girls. Now, the older sister turns out is a lesbian. so they have that, and then the younger girl, she has a boyfriend who apparently is a saint. Which I sometimes, when they got these perfect characters like that, the vibe I get is like something really terrible is going to happen to him. So yeah, so look for that possibly. But he's a really good guy, and she's in a bad spot, but it's understandable. Again, I can't completely pretend the first episode didn't happen, because of course she got kidnapped along with her sister and was nearly killed. So they're each kind of reacting to that in their own way, and for her, she's getting drunk and stuff like that, and well, the boyfriend kind of chews her out about that, and he tries to set her straight and and don't screw up, and but it's understandable that she was in that position because, well, she was scared. So that was a good scene. And then there's the now the scene with it's interesting about that. I don't know if this was intended or not, but it's the way I see it. The father, Black Lightning, Jefferson Pierce, Black Lightning, he wants his wife back. Now the reason they give is why she left is because he was out being Black Lightning, and she didn't like him coming home all beat up and shot up and bleeding and all that stuff. And he's, it's either Black Lightning or me. So he quits, and she leaves him anyway. So they really need to clear that up. I'm not, because that still remains the reason of her problem about being with him, because he's coming back. The song literally says Black Lightning is back. So of course there's no show if he doesn't come back. So of course he's going to be Black Lightning, and she's not happy about it. But at the same time, he did quit it for I don't know how long it was, and she still so. Boy, she's in no position to dictate to him anything. He did everything for her, and she still kind of crapped on him. And then the reason their daughters are alive is because he used his powers to do it, to save them, even though the bad plotting of the last episode, it's kind of his fault that it happened in a clumsy way. But be that as it may, so not a great relationship there, because I don't think she deserves him. So now, not to that extreme, the sister's girlfriend, so they have their intimate moment together and they're, lovey-dovey and everything. But then the girlfriend starts to complain that she's not, with her enough, or, they're not going out enough and all this stuff. And I'm like, look, could you cut her some slack? She almost died the day before, you know? And so both, it's like father, like daughter, they seem to be attracted to people who take them for granted. So I don't know that that's really meant to be there, but it certainly was interesting that it kind of played out like that. Meanwhile, the older sister is also the one exhibiting superpowers, and there's another scene in that where she actually stops a holdup with her power, and apparently her powers give her some pretty super strength. I'm assuming that Black Lightning has that as well, but it seems to be coming more out of the electric shock that he's able to give off when he's fighting criminals and stuff. So it might be a little different, but and I think the younger sister is going to start exhibiting powers too, but I guess because she's younger, it hasn't shown up yet, if I read correctly. There was different trailers and different articles about where the show was going to go and all this, so it was going to be more of this father training his legacy with his daughters type story, you know. So anyway, that was all pretty good. He's definitely on the course to dealing with the gang. He tries to maintain his life that he's made as just the principal of the school. And then he's confronted by the parents, or like, you know, which is kind of, that one was a little odd because, I mean, and they refer to him like they want him to be this leader. And yet I don't know do they know who he is? You know, because he's just a school principal. What's he supposed to do? You know? And I'm not quite sure why they're going to him like he's the mayor of the city or something. But so one of the women whose daughter has disappeared, and she's probably dead or, pimped out by these thugs. And she's demanding stuff, and she's at her wit's end. And the police, well, there's no evidence, can't do anything, and all this sort of thing. Plus, there's some of them are on the take. And so there's not a whole lot she can do, and she's just angry. And so she's going to do it herself. You know, she's collecting evidence, and he keeps warning her not to do it. Give me time, I'll figure something out. And, of course, what he needs to do is suit up his Black Lightning. Even though there's a couple of scenes there where I'm not quite sure. Did she know who he was? She was saying, we used to call you Black Jesus. We thought you could walk on water. And I was like, well, what does that mean? That he was just a great civic leader in the community or something like that? Or did they know, yeah, we all know it's you? But I'm a little confused by that. But anyway, she ends up sacrificing herself, basically, because she sets up her own, I don't know, it's not clear there she intended to get killed, but she confronts Lala, the secondary gang leader, or the one that it takes all the blame for the gang, because the real criminal is, of course, the supervillain Tobias. But nevertheless, she confronts him with her video camera, and he's had enough, because he's already, at first, he's taken care of the idiot from the last episode that abducted Black Lightning's daughters, but it turns out they were family. So he's not in the best of moods when she confronts him, so he just pulls his gun out and shoots her. Well, it turns out she left her cell phone in her car, and the idiots didn't notice. But it's acceptable that they didn't notice because this was unexpected, and he just wasn't in the right frame of mind to be cool and just blow her off and walk away. So kills her. Now he's done, so Black Lightning suits up, goes after him, gets him, and he's captured. He's locked up. They got the evidence on him because of the cell phone. And then, surprise, Tobias just walks into the jailhouse because, well, the cops are dirty, so they let him. And he strangles Lala with one hand, and he's done. So he's going to have to look for a new lieutenant, I guess, to run his city. But so there you go, Tobias, the giant leprechaun. He's a funny looking dude. So obviously he will be the, I guess, Lex Luthor of the Black Lightning saga. But hopefully we'll get some cooler villains down the road who have actual superpowers. Although maybe Tobias has super strength. I don't know, because he lifted him up with one hand and strangles him. So I don't know. But that's how that went down. And another interesting aspect, which is one of these things that's really cool, where you can use a statement very simply put in that can explain certain realities or powers or what have you. And in this scene is like, well, you look at Black Lightning, it's the guy, it's Jefferson Pierce. and all he's got is this sort of fancy sunglasses as a mask, and it's like not that great. I mean, no one. I mean, it's like we know Robin's Dick Grayson, but. And that would never work for. Well, they really need to rethink Robin, huh? But for Black Lightning, the daughter, one of the I think it was the younger daughter, was talking about seeing him, and he said, "Wow, you saw Black Lightning?" And he said, "Yeah, but it was really strange, when I was trying to look at him, I really couldn't. It's like it hurt my eyes to look at him. So it's like the electricity that he gives off." Sort of has this invisible shield, so when you're trying to look at him, you can't quite see him. So that's an interesting thing where it explains why people don't know it's him. Although, like I said, some people seem to suspect it's him. They're saying, "When are you going to do something?" And what do you mean? But it's one of those interesting things. It's one of those things I always thought they should have said about like Superman with the Clark Kent thing, and that like his X-ray vision it keeps a constant glow that's not quite visible to the naked eye, but at the same time it makes it hard to actually see his face, so that and then like he puts the glasses on it diffuses it. So that's kind of what you're seeing here with Black Lightning. They can't quite see him. So it's just one of those cute, clever things that you put into the plot there, where you can explain the science fiction aspect of it, if you will, of this superhero story about how come they can't see it's him, and well, now you know. And it's very simple, and it's well done. And it's just a line there. She's describing what she went through, and there you go, done. You got that explained. Very, very nice. Very good. Pretty good overall. It's not the greatest thing in the world. Nothing's going to be like Breaking Bad level in superheroic stories. Maybe we'll see a show like that one day. But you don't really need to. These shows are just for fun and adventure, and this certainly was one. And I think it's shows potential. And boy, total 180 for me. So now I'm excited to see the next episode. It looks like the town's going to march on the gang, I guess, and something like that. But I'm hoping that they're getting more into what they've got Black Lightning now, and they can look to that as the solution, since that's what a superhero is supposed to do. So that'll be cool. The only thing still lagging here is the superhero suit. It's just, boy, it just looks really bad. I mean, even the design of the lightning bolts that are glowing like neon signs, it's just the design. It just looks like it's kind of lazily put on. It's just it's not even lightning bolts. It's just like I don't know, a little dribble of paint or something. So, again, saw articles where they said, they're going to change the design over time. So hopefully they'll get on that. He's got this super tailor who keeps pushing him to do it. And that's another thing. The super tailor, I forget the guy's name, sorry. But he's been apparently sort of the Alfred to Black Lightning in his previous career, and now he wants to do it again because he believes in Black Lightning and wants him to, fight the good fight and all that. Whereas the wife, didn't. And they're arguing back and forth, and it's almost like they're fighting over him. It's like, I don't know if the guy's gay or not. But, I just thought it was funny. The only other thing about that I thought was a little odd was that he's easily able to find the body of the gang member that Lala had to kill. And I like, what did they do? Did they dump him outside the dumpster of his tailor shop? I don't know. So I thought, they're insinuating that he's like on the take two or something, but it doesn't look like it. So I think he'll just always be the technical guy. And that's an aspect of these CW shows that you see repeated over and over. They all have their techno geeks and their nerd guys who are always there. And I will say that I think The Flash handles that model the best. But they all kind of do it. There's always these characters like that. Between like an Arrow has their nerds there, and then Legends, where the Atom and Steel are kind of the nerdy buddies, and with the techno people. And so this one, it's strange because the guy's really old, and it's the idea of you got a superhero coming out of retirement, so it makes sense. So he's got his tech guy who's actually a tailor, but somehow he's able to hack computers and build superhero suits and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know, maybe they'll reveal that he had some kind of past, or he was a secret agent or something. I don't know. But anyway, so it's an interesting break from that, and I like that. I like them that they're stepping outside of their safe little template, because I did a video on The Flash where that could start to hurt the show if you keep repeating things like that, because you just feel safe in it and you just sort of plug in different characters, but they're all the same. And the plots become you're seeing the same show over and over again. So that's a good little detail that they've added to this show. And one other thing, which was interesting, of course, they're showing the price that Black Lightning pays, the physical toll of his powers. And apparently, even with the powers, he's all sore and beat up and stuff. And plus, he's much older now, so it's taking its toll. And it's an interesting thing to see there, because it's the only argument that the ex-wife has left now, that you can only do this for so long. And I think that's what's going to push forward for the idea of his daughters helping out. Certainly the older one will probably start first, obviously, since she's already demonstrated the powers. And of course, you can imagine he's going to fight that, but then eventually, well, how can I argue that I need the help? So, and we'll see. But anyway, so 5 stars for this one, just for quite a turnaround, and a good way to save a show that I thought was dead on arrival. And because that first episode is just so bad. And with this one, I don't know if it was a different crew or what, but this is the debut. this was a good episode. I hope it continues on this vein, and then we'll have a great new superhero CW series now to join the rest. That some are not that great. The Flash, that still holds the best. Maybe Black Lightning can take that title. We'll see. But he won me over with this episode. We'll see what happens next week. And so I'm in for the time being. If it turns to, if they were just tricking me with one episode, I'll be furious. But what can you do? So hopefully this will be the pattern and norm of the series. So Black Lightning, do check it out. Check out the second episode. Forget about the first one. Just forget about it. And go from there. It's looking like it might turn out to be pretty good. All right, so hopefully you enjoyed listening to this and then watching my little Photoshop pictures and whatnot. If you'd like to see more, subscribe. And do check out the links below in the description, where I have my t-shirts, hats, stickers, pins, stuff like that for sale at my Zazzle shop, the Mr Nailsin Store. Also, head over to Nailsin Theater at sellfy.com/Nailsin, where I do my poor man's Mystery Science Theater treatment to public domain films, sci-fi and horror and stuff like that. And full films are $1.75, and the short films are only 90 cents. And it's like watching a movie with me, along with cartoon sound effects and, of course, bathroom humor. Oh boy. So yeah, there's that. And if you're just feeling sorry for me, you can also check out the link below that leads you to my PayPal, where you can drop a coin in the tip jar. It's much appreciated. Plus, if you just want to listen to me for free, you can do that here, but also the Mr. Nailsin Show at radiomisfits.com. That's my podcast, where I do all kinds of reviews of politics, news, and sometimes reviews of TV shows and stories, and talk about whatever, talk to guests, and do my comedy audio dramas. I don't know, audio comedy, I guess. Parodies of Batman, Star Trek, and Star Wars, stuff like that. Oh, it's good fun. New episodes every Saturday, the Mr. Nailsin Show at radiomisfits.com. Please do check it out. All right, thank you again for listening and watching. Well, we'll do it again sometime. Yeah.